The News Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Various transport groups are urging the LTFRB to approve their proposed measures to help drivers and operators deal with higher oil prices. Here's the story.
Bus operators in the metro have limited their operations in light of the sky-high prices of petroleum. In an interview with Radio 5's Ted Filon and DJ Chacha, Juliet De Jesus of the Samahan ng Transport Operators sa Pilipinas said operators have no choice but to reduce their fleet to avoid incurring more losses. De Jesus added that city buses are losing more money over the government service-contracted buses and several LGU's Libreng Sakay programs, which have been causing an overlap in the routes of buses, modernized jeepneys and UV Express units.
Maganda po yung programa sana kasi sinasagot kami ng gobyerno doon sa mga commuters na sumasakay na nakakalibre. Pero sir, hindi po yun sustainable kagaya ngayon. Nag-extend sila ng July hanggang 31. So busway lang po yung in-extend nila, other feeder routes. Lahat po kami lugi. Wala na rin pong mangyayari. Hindi naman po pwedeng mabuhay ng busway lang ang ino-operate.
Passenger jeeps are likewise calling on the government to reinstate their usual routes. Transport groups like Altodap, Pasang Mazda, ACTO and PUJ Federation filed a petition to reinstate the routes of jeepneys which was cut and rerouted during the peak of the pandemic. The groups say this is the only way drivers and operators can still earn a living despite the still soaring pump prices.
Nagkaisa po kami na mag-file sa LTFRB na kung saan balik rota na po. Kasi unang-una po, kung makikita natin, level 1 na po tayo. Na nahihirapan po, nakikita namin yung mga pasahero namin ay nahihirapan na sumakay po, lalo po sa transportasyon. Kasi ang nangyari po sa amin, yung pong aming mga rota, meron po kami mga rota nationwide na hindi pa napubuksan.
The groups say the loss of direct trips to the destination of their usual passengers has had a huge impact on their livelihood.
Ang nagiging problema po, nagiging 3, 4 na sakay po sila. Mas malaki po yung nagiging pamasahe po nila.
The groups are also asking for a provisional fare increase of 5 pesos, which will bring the minimum fare to 15 pesos at least until the price of oil and diesel start to normalize.
Paano pa ma-approvean yung aming ipinaila fare hike? Alis na sila eh. Tatas na naman yung diesel namin. Wala na po talaga kaming kikitain, kaya nakakahawa po kami ngayon.
The LTFRB has yet to address these petitions as the agency is now in its transition period.
Are you considering shifting to e-bikes to save on cash? Well, this might just help you decide. The MMDA has opened to the public its charging station for e-vehicles. Mon Gualvez with the story.
More and more people are resorting to e-vehicles for their daily travel as petroleum prices continue to go up. According to users of e-vehicles, it is a much more practical option.
Kung bibigyan ko ng ilang percent of the time gumagamit ako ng kotse, 10% na lang, 90% ito yung gamit ko.
Typically consumes 100 to 120 liters of gasoline per month, which amounts to more than 10,000 pesos. But with the e-kick scooter, all you need is 80 pesos to cover 400 kilometers. That means only 20 centavos per kilometer. For an hour of charging, one can travel for 10 to 20 kilometers. To help e-vehicle users, the MMDA has set up a solar-powered charging station. It's located in their head office in Doña Julia Vargas Avenue in Pasig.
For example, pupunta akong Quezon City. This is a good stop from BGC na parang kung medyo kulang na yung battery ko, I'll stop here.
Ito po ay isa sa paraan ng pag-encourage natin ng paggamit ng ating mga kababayan ng alternatibong mode of transportation. Kasi nga unang-una tumataas po ang presyo ng produktong petrolyo.
The charging station has a coin slot, but the MMDA clarifies that it's free for all. Users will just have to bring their own cord or charger.
It was not designed to be free use for public. Pay charging station talaga siya for our employees. It's just that nung tumataas po ang presyo ng produktong petrolyo, minabuti nating i-offer siya sa ating mga kababayan.
The MMDA plans to put up signages to make the charging station more visible to motorists. The agency is also drafting guidelines on road etiquette for drivers and users of both electric and non-electric transport vehicles. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The Philippine Hospital Association warns that the number of incidental COVID-19 patients are increasing in the country. In an interview with 1PH's Sa Totoo Lang, PHA Vice President for Luzon, Bu Castro, explained that COVID-19 admissions remain low. But many people who are seeking consultation for other diseases find out that they're COVID positive.
Ang ating ICU utilization naman nasa 15% lang at yung mga nasa ordinary rooms, ward ay nasa 18%. Ang nangyayari kasi, yung incidental finding na sinasabi, yung na-admit na dahil sa isang sakit at na-discover lang na positive para sa COVID. So, ibig sabihin, may mga positive tayo na nandyan lang at nadidiscover pag nag-symptomatic sila. Ang maganda niyan kung paano balansehin ang ating mga leaders, lalo sa mga local sa LGUs, para wag nang lumala pa at hindi na maging out of control na naman.
Meanwhile, Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines President Jose de Grano says several hospitals have already increased their rates by 5 to 10% due to the rising prices of basic commodities. Speaking with the chiefs, de Grano also urged the government to release the one COVID-19 allowance for healthcare workers.
I think we'll have to really increase pa rin ng salaries ng ating mga healthcare workers. Hopefully na with the help of ito naman kasing mas maganda nga po itong may OKA, because this is a big help to our healthcare workers. Eh ngayon na-release na supposedly, bakit hindi nila dinidisburse?
Infrastructure conglomerate Metro Pacific Investments is expanding into agribusiness by taking a big stake in a homegrown dairy brand. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez has the story.
Infrastructure and Tollways Group Metro Pacific Investments is venturing into agribusiness. MPIC Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan on Monday announced they will acquire a majority stake in the Laguna Creamery Incorporated or TLCI, which is otherwise known as the Carmen's Best Group. Yes, the one behind the popular ice cream brand.
My dad told me that he and his friends wanted to stimulate the rural economy, and he wanted to give jobs to people. And we met the group of Sir MVP, and we have the same vision to help the farmers in the provinces. And I feel that it's a very good joining of forces, same mindset, and also coming from a very pure heart.
Aside from ice cream, the company also produces the Hollis milk line as well as various cheeses and yogurts. Under the deal, MPIC will acquire a 51% stake in TLCI following its 198 million peso investment. Pangilinan sees this as a growth opportunity not just for MPIC but for the Philippines, which is heavily dependent on food imports.
The Philippines has had not totally pleasant experience with agriculture, but it is coming to the fore with what's happening recently in the world, where there have been supply disruptions on the food side, and that's why food prices have gone up and the like. And the Philippines has been increasingly dependent on imports of foodstuffs.
He noted that the country currently imports 99% of its annual dairy requirements. Thus, the investment is also part of the company's efforts to contribute to the UN Sustainable Development Goals, particularly with regard to achieving food security. MPIC aims to transform TLCI into a fully integrated dairy business and expand its reach, perhaps even internationally.
We'd like, as Paco indicated, we'd like to build on what they have as a foundation for future businesses to enhance the brand, ensure that it is marketed, sold, and distributed nationwide. But at the same time, I think be able to one day, in the future, be able to market it internationally.
The transaction values the Carmen's Best Group at 288 million pesos. Once the deal is finalized, TLCI will become a subsidiary of MPIC. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
Time now for a quick look at some of today's headlines. Incoming presidential legal counsel Juan Ponce Enrile may skip the inauguration ceremony of Ferdinand Marcos Jr. after contracting COVID-19. Opposition leader Vice President Leni Robredo passes the torch to Senator Risa Ontiveros. And Gilas Pilipinas is off to New Zealand for the third window of the FIBA World Cup Asian qualifiers. And those are the top stories of this hour. Join us later at 11 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.